starting to work on the first assignment, which requires me to go through and lay out a raw fleece and pull sections to spin 10-yard skeins from each section, from the britch, the belly, although this is Gulf Coast and it does not have a lot of belly wool, as well as the back, the shoulder, and I think the neck. I'll double check. So I'm about to, I just took this out of the bag. It was a bit crumpled, so I'm trying to rearrange it on the skirting table. I can tell for sure that this area here was the back of the neck just by how much VM is there in the finer crimp and lock formation. The thing with Gulf Coast is that there's so much diversity in the breed with their fleeces that it also shows up in diversity in one single fleece. A lot of the breeds that you'll find, they want the uniformity, and I do have some girls, some ewes. Actually, truth be told, my wethers actually have the most beautiful fleeces because they experience really little to no stress. There's no lambing, no nursing involved for them. But I do have some that have some good uniformity throughout. But truthfully, I really enjoy having fleeces that do have a range of textures and just different qualities to them, because when I separate them out, I can use them differently. The challenge for this assignment, though, is to be able to make sure I have enough to produce a 10-yard skein from each of the sections. And as you can see, I had skirted the britch. I know that this is belly and britch. I can tell for sure the britch has a little bit more kemp. I don't know if you can see that in there. So I'll be able to lay it back out, and I'm pretty sure this is a hogget fleece. I'm pretty sure that I'll be able to tell what and reassemble it as best as possible. But the other fleeces are still completely intact. I got them from friends, so this one I just had been really eager to have skirted and separated from prime in seconds. So this is where we are. We'll try and share some of my process and a little bit of the progress, but first I'm going to go ahead, separate it, and start getting it scoured. I got the fleece sorted, but again, there's missing the 6th bag, which is the belly, because I usually at the time of shearing will go through and skirt and just discard the belly and put it in the compost pile. So I'm going to have to go through some of the other fleeces that I have and see if I still have a little bit of the belly wool attached, and I'll just end up using that. It's not from the same exact fleece, but I had a few different hogget fleeces from last year. Actually, I had 9 hogget fleeces from last year, so I think I can find 2 or 3 that have similar, or if not almost identical fleeces to Binty's. That's the one I'm currently using. It's a small fleece too, so I'm going to be trying to stretch to make sure that it fits. It fits the requirements for the 10 yards. Trying to estimate, I think after this first one it'll be easier to estimate how much percent of loss I'll have after scouring and then carding. I'll probably just card most of this, or maybe comb it. But we'll see how much I have, and then I'll be spinning a 2-ply so that I can make sure that I get the yardage I need. But it's the shoulder, the back, which is really, really nice, and the shoulder's nice as well. The britch, which is not actually as awful. I mean, it's definitely not as nice as these other sections, but there's some there. I had to pull from both legs to get enough, or to get as much as possible from the leg, because they really do not have a lot of leg wool, and the britch really kind of blends in a little bit from that area, and it's just shorter stapled, but at the sides, and the sides are nice. So I would actually think the shoulder, most of the shoulder at the back and the side would be my prime, especially on this particular fleece. I'll be very, very interested to see how they spin up, and if I can sit through spinning each of them consistently so that I can get the best comparison possible. I'm using a plant-based soap, laundry soap, detergent actually. I do have a citrus-based scour that is very expensive, and I find that I usually need to do at least 2 of those, but I use a smaller amount of this Ecos, I believe it's called Ecos laundry detergent, as my scouring soap, at least from the initial, and a touch of Dawn dish soap. And I know that's kind of controversial, but I have had some challenges as of late with getting the lanolin out. The suet comes out, the dirt comes out pretty easily, but the lanolin, and it's ever so slight, it's just a little bit tacky, whereas if I add, I mean, not even a teaspoonful of the Dawn, it seems to do a better job. And then I'm able to cut down the number of scour soaps that I have to do. All right, starting with this one. It's definitely a bit coarser, but overall not horrible, not terrible, I should say. I have definitely seen worse. Definitely some more Kemp in there, more than, I mean, for a hogget fleece I really ideally wouldn't like to have any of this in here, but it's a little bit. So, and I often will put them in a net bag and scour within the net bag, but there's such a little bit that I feel fairly confident that I can move this more freely in the scour sink and be able to still pull it all out and throw it in the spinner. It just cuts down, I think, on some of the time, or when I say time, the number of scours that I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna let that get under there and do its thing. Now we rinse. Just took this out, took it out, tossed it here in the sink, and now I'm going to be extra careful not to bother it anymore, because I just, even though it's just a spin cycle, I just threw it through, and it does agitate it slightly, but as you can see, all of my wool is still nice and open. Fleece is still open, and this is that britch, so there is a little bit of that guard hair in there too. So I have 5 of the bundles scoured and ready for carding and prep, so I can go ahead and spin up the sections. Part of my learning process will be to figure out exactly how much fiber, raw fiber, to estimate when I'm doing each of these assignments to produce a 10-yard skein, 2-ply or even 3-ply. But this is the shoulder. It's very interesting too because you can see how much hay and VM is in this fiber that still needs to be carded and combed out, versus the britch, which is really kind of coarse. I'm actually not thrilled with how much Kemp on a hogget fleece was in this particular fleece, but we'll monitor that for sure. I mean, it comes with the territory, but it's a little more than I personally would like. And then this is the side section, again, more VM. So this one, the britch, far less vegetable matter. The shoulder and the side, more vegetable matter. And then the leg, very little. And the back is almost so fine and so soft, is really very delicate, but it's filled with hay, and that's speaking to me about my management, and I'm gonna have to figure something out because they really do like laying directly under the hay feeder and in the piles of hay. But when they lay right under it and they stick their head through into the bunk feeder with the hay feeder on top, it just fills the fluff. So picking this out is going to be interesting. This is usually where I would take it to the mill and have it run through the dehairing machine. But seeing as I'm doing it by hand, it just adds a little bit to the adventure.